Hi, my name is Dear Tiagi, and in this video, I'll be going over Ampere's law for AP Physics C in a easy yet thorough manner. So to start, Ampere's law states that a line integral of b dot dl is equal to mu naught times I enclosed. And if you look at that, right, it looks very similar to Gauss's law, and in reality, it is very similar, and the way we solve these problems are pretty much the same way we solve Gauss's law problems. But there are key differences, and I'm going to highlight these key differences right now. So if you consider the formula for Gauss's law, right, it's going to be E dot dA is equal to Q enclosed over epsilon naught. So we have some key similarities like enclosed, we have a dot product, but there are differences. And one major one is that here we're taking the line integral, right, just one, but here we're taking the surface or double integral. So the reason why is because when we're doing this is our flux term back in Unit 9, and the idea was, right, if we had a box, what we're basically measuring is how much does the electric fields go through a certain area. So let's do the same thing. Let's imagine we have, for magnetism, a magnet inside. If we imagine we have a magnet, right, and we're going to measure the magnetic fields going through this box, right, we'll measure it going through this, so we'll have an area, magnetic field going straight through it, so we have some kind of magnetic flux there. But then what happens is this magnetic flux comes back and loops here. So what ends up happening, it goes in and it comes back out because they're in loops. And so because they're in loops, right, we don't really actually have a magnetic flux. The magnetic flux equals zero because it's in loops. So if we applied Gauss's law to magnetic fields, what would happen is we have the surface integral of b dot dl, or dA now, is equal to zero. So for this, right, we can't use surface integral. We have to use line integral because again, they're in loops. And so if we were to actually solve problems with this, right, for AP Physics C, you don't actually need to know how to evaluate a line integral. What we need to know is that we have to create a path. So instead of integrating an area, we're doing a path. And this path is called an Amperian loop. And so we want to get this path, right, because the dot product means b dl cosine theta. So the idea is we want to create a path such that our b and our l are parallel, our b and our path are parallel in all sections. And if that's true, right, then we say that our theta is 0 and cosine of 0 is equal to 1. And so therefore, if we have a good Amperian loop such that our b and our l are in the same direction, this would just become integral of b dl, which is therefore b times l. Right, and from here, we have our formula b equals mu naught I enclosed, and then you can solve for your b. And so that's just a general process for solving these problems. And again, the key idea is we use a line integral, not a surface integral, because magnetic fields come in loops. Okay, so let's try out a problem. Again, the way we solve these are pretty much the same way we solve Gauss's law problems, but again, we're using a line integral instead, which doesn't really matter because we're not ever going to actually evaluate it, since we're going to choose a good Amperian loop. So let's imagine we have a cross-sectional wire, right? We just took a cross-section, and this wire is going through the board, right? Which means our magnetic field is going to be, if we do the right-hand rule, it's going to be like that. So in this direction around the wire in loops. So we want to create an Amperian loop for the inside and outside to find the B field. So let's create one for the outside first. So it's going to be like this, right? Because our magnetic field is going around the board like that. So our Amperian loop is that. So on this case, right, the closed integral of b dot dl is equal to mu naught I enclosed. So here, because b dot dl is parallel in all sections, this becomes bl mu naught I enclosed. Our I enclosed, let's say we have I. Our L is going to be the length of our Amperian loop, which is going to be just the length of the circle, which is circumference, so 2 pi r. So b times 2 pi r is equal to mu naught I enclosed, which is just I, because we're enclosing I, current. And so our magnetic field on the outside is equal to mu naught times I divided by 2 pi r. Okay, now let's do another Amperian loop, but for the inside. The same thing, right? Closed integral of b dot dl is equal to mu naught times I enclosed. Again, symmetry, so we'll bl, and b is going to become 2 pi r, because it's the same thing, right circumference. But now, right, mu naught times I enclosed. So how much I are we enclosing? We're no longer enclosing capital I, because capital I would be the whole wire. We're only enclosing this part here. And so the way we would solve this back in Gauss's law is by using either volumetric charge density or surface charge density, or yeah, charge. In this case, though, we're going to use something called current density. And you should know this, right? Current density is equal to the current per area. And so our current enclosed is going to be equal to our current density, or sorry, current density times our area enclosed. Okay, so that's the formula we're going to use. And so plugging that in, right, we'll get J times the area enclosed, which is just the area of the circle, which is pi little r squared. So now we solve for b. What we end up getting is that mu naught times j, pi's cancel out, when the r's cancel out, we get mu naught over j divided by 2 times r. And what's interesting about this result is if we graph it, it should look similar to Gauss's law. So b as a function of r, it'll go up linearly like that, reach our radius of the circle or the wire, and then it'll go out like 1 over x, like that. So that should look pretty similar to Gauss's law results. And one more thing, right? If we have if they give us some kind of function like j of r, this means our current density is not uniform. So which means we can't just do I enclosed j times a. What we have to do is with integrate. So now j is equal to di over dA. So if we want to find our I enclosed for a non-uniform current density, we would do that I is equal to the integral of j dA. Okay, and you likely have to change dA into dr. And the way we do this is by saying a is equal to some function of r, and then dA is therefore equal to some function of dr, and then we can just plug that in, and then we can integrate. Okay, and that's a process for non-uniform charge or current density. All right, let's just do one more problem. This one's going to be pretty similar, right? Because there's not many geometries you can do, because these are wires. Wires are usually cylinders. But let's say we have another case, and in this case, let's say that the wire is hollow on the inside. So let's say we have this, and so the current's only really going around the wire. Inside is hollow. So obviously, right, if we do an Amperian loop for here, there's going to be 0 magnetic field because it's not enclosing any charge. I encloses 0. Here, right, if we do an Amperian loop, we'll get that closed integral b dot dl. So b times circumference 2 by r is equal to mu naught times I enclosed. Again, we're going to use the idea that I enclosed is equal to j times our area enclosed. And here, our area is no longer just pi r squared. It's going to be, right, pi r squared, so the area of the big circle, or the circle we're taking of, so pi r squared minus the circumference, or sorry, the radius of this circle here called radius 1, and that's our area of just this section of current. So we plug this into there, right, and then we can just isolate for b. So we just isolate, and we get mu naught times j times r squared minus r1 squared divided by 2. Okay, and then the same thing, right, for the outer loop, except now instead of doing pi r squared minus pi r1 squared, we want to figure out just the current in this area. So we're just going to change it into r2 squared, right, called this r2, minus r1 squared divided by 2. This should be 2r. Yeah. And so if we were to graph this, right, this should be 2r because there's 2 pi r there. And if we graph this, right, it's going to look pretty similar to our previous result, except it's going to be like flat at the beginning, then linear when it gets to r1. Then when it gets to r2, it's going to go out as a 1 over x kind of function. Okay, and that's how we do that. And yeah, that's Ampere's law for AP Physics C, explained hopefully in an intuitive, yet easy to understand method. And yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.